Meet me out in Paris. I'll be on the elevator, halfway up the Eiffel Tower.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome. My name is Laura, and today I'm going to be talking about books that I hate. Books I don't like, books that I felt weren't for me, just an abundance of books that I did not enjoy reading. So I'm going to be sharing those with you guys. But before we start, I just want to put like a small disclaimer saying, you know, if you get offended easily, maybe don't watch this video because I might mention one of your favorite books. If I do mention one of your favorite books, it's not like a personal attack. I know there's plenty of books that I like and enjoy that many people don't like. It's totally fine. Like, we all have our opinions. These are just my opinions on these certain books. But if you enjoy one of these books, that's cool. That's good for you. I don't think less of you for enjoying these books. Like, it's just my personal preference, your personal preference. We're all different human beings. So yeah, I just want to say that before I start. I don't mean to like roast any of your favorite books, but I might. So I'm just gonna get started and share with you guys some books that I hate. Starting off kind of easy, this is a book that I know I've talked about disliking before, and that is Pushing the Limits by Katie Mcgarry. This is a YA contemporary romance book about these two people, and they both kind of struggle with like abandonment issues, and like one of them I think has like a mental disorder, one of them like I don't even know. Like, there's so much going on in this book that I just couldn't get like a clear plot. I didn't enjoy the characters. I didn't think their relationship was like cute or like like I just did not like this book at all. But I know so many people really love this book, so if you're one of those people, again, sorry, but I just did not enjoy this. I don't know why, and I was kind of sad about it because everybody really likes this book, but yeah, I don't really like it. Okay, next we have Cut Both Ways by Carrie Mesrobian. And now this is a book that I heard so many people when this was like kind of all hyped up and everyone was talking about it a couple years ago, I think. A lot of people had mixed reviews and mixed feelings on this book, myself included, and I've kind of come to the decision that I just do not enjoy this book. I hope I'm remembering this correctly, but I'm pretty sure that this book is about a guy who gets a girlfriend, but then he starts hooking up with his guy best friend on the side, and like the whole book he just continues to do this, and it's like not problematic. Like I feel like on one hand I'm kind of like, yeah, like a book with bi representation, like that's phenomenal, like awesome. But on the other hand, I'm like, all this book does is like spread the stereotype that bisexual people are like cheaters and they're never satisfied, and it's like dumb. But then again, like, who am I to say how good or not good the representation of something that I don't relate to is? Like, I don't really know. I just didn't really like the book. Let me know your thoughts if you've read it. If you're actually bisexual, your opinions on it would mean way more than mine do, but I'm just curious. I don't know, this book, it just didn't do it for me. Like, it's literally just a book about cheating. Like, no. Next up we have Just One Day by Gayle Forman. I think I've actually like recommended this book before, but thinking back on it, I don't know why I did that because I don't think I like this book very much. I definitely read this book when I first kind of started getting into booktube and I first started reading all the YA books. So back then I was like, yeah, that's a good book. I like it. I'll recommend it. But now that I've read like a million other books, I'm just like, don't read this. Like, don't. It's not good. Like, I don't know, some people like this book. It's about this girl who like goes to Europe and she like meets this boy and they spend just one day together. It's like one day, and then like she spends her whole life like obsessing over this guy that she's known for a day. I don't know, that just seems kind of abnormal to me. It's such insta love, it kind of makes me sick. No, like, don't read this book. Next up is kind of a random one that I'm sure not many of you have read, but that's Breakable by Tamara Weber, and this is the second or like the follow-up book to Easy by Tamara Weber, which is like a great new adult book. It's so great, like I love it. Unproblematic, great romance, like love that book. This is like the second book. I did not like it. I don't know what it was about this book, but I just could not get through it. It was not enjoyable. I don't like hate this book, but it just wasn't a good book. Like, it could have been better. Another book that I don't necessarily hate, but it's just like not one of my favorites whatsoever, is Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. You guys may or may not know, Lauren Oliver is like one of my favorite authors. I've met her twice. I have so many of her books. I've read most of her books. The Delirium series is like my favorite series of all time. This book just did not do it for me. And if you know what this book is about, it's a girl who keeps reliving this one day over and over again. So you can see how that would get kind of repetitive, which it did. So yeah, that's kind of why I didn't like it. But I do have to say that the movie was phenomenal, and I have it on DVD and I've watched it a million times because I really love the movie, but the book just didn't do it for me. I didn't like the book. Next is a book that I could literally, like literally, I can make a whole video talking about everything that's wrong with this book and why it's awful and why I hate it so much. Like, I could literally make a whole video. And that is Taking Chances by Molly Mcadams. I also have this Molly Mcadams book, which I tried to give her another shot and read another one of her books. No, this one was awful too. From Ashes. I'm sorry if you guys like these books. I'm literally like roasting them. This book was trash. Like, I'm not trying to be like rude again, like to the author, to like anything. Like, I don't know, like I just don't understand how anybody can read this book and be like, oh my god, the romance is so cute. Like, it's no, like if you guys knew what this book was about, like if you knew, I don't want to spoil it for people that maybe want to read it. I'm not going to recommend it to you, but if maybe you want to read it, like I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys everything that happens in it unless you want me to do that, like in a separate video. But literally, this book is trash. Like, I hated this book. It was absolutely awful. Same with this one. I think this one a little less. This one was kind of worse, but like I would never recommend either of them to you. Next up is a book that I kind of debated putting into this video because it's a classic, and I'm like, you can't really like debate over if a classic is good because like it is, like I don't really know. And I know like this book means so much to a lot of people. So many people love this book, so it's like dumb of me to even try and like tell you it's a bad book because it's not. It's just, personally, I did not enjoy it. Personally, I didn't like it. It was a book that just wasn't for me, and that is Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. I had to read this for school, and literally this was my least favorite book I read for school. I would rather read like 12 million Shakespearean plays. I would rather read like every novel ever written by like John Steinbeck. Like I literally, this book is a sci-fi about like war. I literally cannot even tell you what this book is about. Like there's so much happening. It goes like from scene to scene and you don't even know what's going on. Pretty much you have to be like really intellectual to read this book, and clearly I wasn't when I read it in high school because I understood zero of the content in this book. So yeah, while it's probably a million people's favorite book and everybody loves it and it's like a great classic, Laura did not enjoy it. Next up we have Palo, Alto by James Franco. As you can see, it's kind of bent because it was in my closet where I keep an abundance of books that don't fit on my shelves, mostly the ones I don't really like as much. But yeah, Palo Alto. This is a really pretentious collection of stories about teenagers that live in Palo Alto, California, and it's by James Franco, you know, like the actor, like him. It's also a movie, and I watched the movie, and the movie was actually equally as bad. But yeah, it's just like a bunch of short stories about these teenagers that do basically nothing, and it's just kind of like very hipster wannabe feel. Like that's really what I got from it. Like the quote on the top says, compelling and gutsy, Vogue. Like, no, I did not enjoy this book whatsoever. Next, I have another sequel to a book that I actually liked, and this is Jet by Jay Cronover, and it's the second book in the Marked Men series. The first book is called Rule, and these are new adult books. I liked the first book. I thought it was good. This book I read, and I literally like could not get through it. It took me like 2 months to read. I did finish it, but it took me forever because it was so boring. So if you want to read this series, I recommend either just reading the first one or skipping this one because it was really bad. Okay, next I have The Boyfriend App by Katie Cease. This is a book I read a while ago. This is about a girl who enters a competition to make like an app, and she's like a computer programmer, and so she makes this app that can make two people fall in love. That doesn't really sound like a realistic situation to me, but yeah, there it is. It's in this book. I just thought this was really boring, I guess, and I didn't like it. Like the plot sounded kind of interesting, but then again, not really. Yeah, and I feel really bad because it's actually like a signed copy of the book that I got off of like Book Outlet or something, so that's kind of sad. I might just like give it to a bookstore and maybe somebody will get it and they might like it. Personally, like all of these books I'm never gonna recommend to you, but maybe you'll pick them up randomly and you will enjoy them. So this might be one of those that you might like, but I just don't. So yeah, there's that. The last couple of books that I'm going to share with you guys, I don't actually have physical copies of because either like they're missing or I gave them away or whatever. The first one is called Dating Down by Stephanie Lyons. That's what it looks like right there. This was a book that is kind of like told in verse poetry. The whole book basically is about this girl who's obsessed with this older guy. Like she's like in high school and she's obsessed with this older guy that she meets at this coffee shop, and then basically he ruins her life and like sends her down this spiral of like drugs and alcohol and like bad stuff. I don't really know. It just kind of felt like a pointless book for me, just because it wasn't realistic or like good. I don't know. It was one of those books that like I was reading and I was like, this is really boring. And then there would be like one little page where I'm like, oh, okay. But like, how did we get there? Like none of it really made sense, which I guess is kind of like verse in general can kind of be like that. Like you don't really know what's gonna happen when you're reading a verse book because it all can like go really fast or it can go really slow. Personally, I just didn't enjoy that one.
Something else that I forgot to mention is that I just generally didn't think that this book set a great example for young girls and teenagers, so yeah, that's another reason that I would not recommend this book to you.
Another book that I don't really need to list, but I'm going to anyway, another classic I should say, is Ethan Frome by Edith Wharton. That's another classic. I think it's a novella. I had to read it in high school, but it was literally, like, even my teacher was like, this book's awful. Like, I hated Ethan Frome. Like, it's literally about this guy who cheats on his wife and then gets in an accident when he's like sledding down a hill and like almost dies. Cool story. Like, it's not good. And the last book that I have to share with you guys is There You'll Find Me by Jenny B. Jones. And this is a book about a girl who I believe goes to like charter school or private school or something, and she falls in love with a rock star. The problem I had with this book is that there was literally like 8 different plots going on at the same time, and it would like go back to a plot and I was like, I don't even remember this being part of the story, and it just got super confusing to a point where I just didn't enjoy the book anymore. So yeah, that's that book. So those are all of the books on my list of books that I hate, or I guess books that I dislike. I don't want to be like too abrasive in there. Books that I disliked, didn't really like, didn't enjoy as much as the average read. I would love to hear about some books that you hate or didn't like down below in a comment. Tell me if you agree with any of my opinions on these books, or if one of them is like your favorite book and you're like, what the hell, Laura, like, by unsubscribing. But definitely let me know in a comment down below. I would love to hear about it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to my channel down below if you've not already. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.
Flying super high, they're gonna be out looking for us all night.